Michigan State 80, Colgate 69, a 1-0 start for the Spartans. Some things to really like from Michigan State in this game, particularly from a couple of the big names on the team, the vets, the stars, and then some questions for sure that we will talk through. But overall, I feel like this game script was not all that much of a surprise. I had Michigan State failing to cover as one of my plays in daily picks. We kind of laid this out in the preview. Colgate is a respectable opponent with a good coach and all Patriot League player and Jalen Cox, who I thought really did some good things here. They were up for the challenge and they made things interesting against a Michigan State team that is still searching for a couple answers on both sides of the ball right now. As far as bullet points from me, just in terms of framing how this game went and the story, Jackson Kohler was the Ken Pom MVP. In 31 minutes, 16 points, 15 rebounds from him. I almost had to double check the box score on that because I think watching this in real time, you did not realize that you got a 16 and 15 game from Jackson Kohler. This was pretty damn productive, and I think it's going to have to be a constant for Michigan State. I think it can be a constant for Michigan State this year. Jeremy Fears, stellar. 14 points, 10 assists, one turnover, five rebounds, five steals, a new career high for him. He was on the floor for 34 minutes. This is his team, one way or another. And he set the tone with that on both ends, I thought, the entire game. Earned some criticism from Izzo after the game. We can talk that through as well. But they're putting a lot on Jeremy Fears' plate, and he stepped up to the challenge in this game. Outside of those two, I don't think you got the best from anybody else on the roster. Carson Cooper, 10 and 6 in 28 minutes. Cohen Carr, 12 very loud points with four rebounds, a block and a steal. The highlight reel is still his, but I have a lot of questions beyond that. Kurt Tang hit two threes in 17 minutes. Trey Fort hit two threes in 19 minutes. Collectively, neither one of the two did much of anything else, and I think Tom Izzo's very frustrated with that. Jordan Scott, 18 good minutes off the bench, 6 points, 6 rebounds, just couldn't buy a three. Cam Ward crashing into people for 5 points and 4 rebounds as well. Nobody on the deep bench did anything. Devine and Jesse McCulloch looked completely overwhelmed, I thought. For Colgate, it really was the vets, four different guys in double figures. Jalen Cox, damn near a triple double, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, making things interesting for Colgate. Cart, we'll start emotionally. How are you feeling after this first performance with Michigan State?
It's two sides of the story. I think one, a win just feels good in the opener, to be honest with you, because I thought there were moments of this game where, Michigan State wasn't really playing that well, and they let Colgate hang around. And I thought that it would probably, I just had this negative thought in the back of my head that they keep going on these droughts, and they keep, missing free throws. They keep, making some mistakes, not hitting shots. That Colgate's sticking around and shooting at a very respectable percentage, 38%. They hit 11 threes in this game. I was like, I just didn't want to get to that point where our backs were against the wall and, Colgate hung around and squeezed one out. That would have been absolutely devastating. But, I thought Jeremy Fears' fingerprints were all over this game in the second half, and he was the big kind of spark plug of the run. He got in passing lanes, he got the steals, he had the back-to-back alley-oops to Cohen Carr, with one being off the glass, by the way, which, good Lord, could you imagine if that didn't connect? That would have probably been the end of Fears' career at Michigan State, seeing what Izzo would have done to him. But in my opinion, the best game I've seen from Jeremy Fears as a Spartan, that has me very excited for this season and the future with him. We talked about, I think there's a lot of chatter about guys, Cohen Carr being the player that takes the massive jump this year. And it's looking like it's going to be Jeremy Fears. And I like what that means for the team and the big picture of things in his career. But I definitely think that, can I do a quick little broad statement on this Michigan State team?
Sure.
I just find myself watching it and being like, man, this roster is just like not that great, to be honest with you. I think that Fears are good. I think that those guys that are playing 30 minutes, those are the guys that should be, because I think they are the best four on the team. I think Fears, Kohler, and for better or worse, Carson Cooper and Colin Carr are the top four players on this basketball team. We need all of those guys to play well. I don't think Colin Carr's playing well right now. We can talk a little bit more about that. He's really hurting this team right now. But outside of that, I think you see a little bit of confusion on who's going to be able to step up because there's not really many bench pieces. There's no depth at the center spot. Um, you know, Izzo doesn't even want to play Trey Fort a lot, but he has to. So it's I don't know. There's definitely some roster questions to talk about this team. Hopefully Izzo pulls the right strings, but I found myself watching it and just picturing what a Jeremy Fears would look like with maybe some better pieces around him.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track. I have like a big picture. I think try and diagnose what this Michigan State team is. If you remember a year ago, it took me one game to come with like the very at the time hot take where I was like, this is Jace's team. And the
Hmm.
moment you decide it is, like everything takes off. Ultimately, that's one of my Mount Rushmore Hall of Fame predictions. I don't think there's anything as hot to take away for this team, but I do have my diagnosis on what this season is and what it will be and how you go about it. I'll get to that in just a few moments. But to your point, here's how I would frame just where the team is at right now. And important caveat here, this will change. Not even can change. This will change. A couple of these guys are going to get better. A couple of these guys are going to just play better. A couple of these guys are going to have roles that fit them a little better than what they currently are right now. Um, Stepping back broadly, look at what last year's team was, a very special team, a very special, unique team to what this year's team currently is in its current form. The fifth best player on this team would not have played last year. And it's not even a hypothetical, it's true. Kurtang is the fifth best player on this team in Tom Izzo's eyes. He didn't play last year. That's not an exaggeration. Now, he didn't play last year because last year's team was special. It was deep. It was amazing. There were a million guards. But go down the list on this year's depth chart. Would Trey Ford have played on last year's team? No. He drives Tom Izzo crazy. Would Jordan Scott have played on last year's team? He might have redshirted last year. Would Cam Ward, same thing? Like, no. Jesse McCullough did redshirt. And the reality is this year's team, in part due to the way this roster was built, in part due to some departures that I think might have caught Tom Izzo by surprise, this team is a lot more thin. And I think, we've seen Tom experiment in years, even when the team isn't super deep. We've seen him early in the season experiment with like everybody's playing. The biggest red flag to me, which is a good thing, he's handling it the right way. But the biggest red flag to me would be how much he's playing the stars. He really doesn't trust anyone and really doesn't even want to experiment here.
Right. I mean, and if you think not to, because I think you got that exactly read right. Outside of those guys that are, the Cohen Cars and the four I named, they're all playing 28 up minutes. Fears played 34, Kohler played 31, Coop played 28, Carr played 27. He was in foul trouble. He probably would have played even more. Um, Outside of that, you see Izzo just like, I mean, giving got like 18, like he split up Tang, Scott, and Fort because he doesn't know what to do with those guys. Now, I have thoughts on who is asserting themselves out of that group, and
It's going to be
hopefully,
Scott.
yeah.
Izzo's basically explicitly saying that at the
Hmm.
podium. If you listen to him, like you can tell Tang and Fort drive him crazy.
Hmm.
Jordan Scott, he's obsessed with, and he's going to phase Scott in at someone's expense. I don't know whose, but yeah, that's coming. But yeah, it's very telling, right? Because it would be one thing. Fears was great. I think Kohler was very good, if not great, and is not getting the credit for a great performance that he deserves, quite frankly. Cooper and Carr were meh at best.
Hmm.
And it would be one thing if those four as a group were all amazing. If they were coming into these games like Gary Harris and Denzel Valentine and Adrian Payne and Keith Appling. Like, wow, these guys are great.
Yeah. Who cares about our bench? We got four dogs.
They're not. Fears might be. And I really want to praise Fears in just a moment. And Kohler's very good. Cohen is just not what he was supposed to be yet. Maybe he gets there. And Cooper is limited and he still makes the most of it. He plays really hard and is smart, but there's only certain things he can do. on the court. And for Carson Cooper in his current state and Cohen Carr in his current state to be playing 55 minutes combined, while Fears and Kohler are also playing 65 minutes combined, it tells you what Tom Izzo thinks of all his other options. He doesn't like them. And he's searching for answers at, but honestly, Tom's such a competitor. He's not really searching for answers. Like if you listen to what he said, I watched his full press conference, man. He basically spent the entire press conference saying, my vets need to be great. The way this program works is when it's your turn, it's your turn. He's not criticizing Tang or Fort or Scott or Ward or Divine as if it means anything for this team. He might point a finger and say, I need defense. It's not there. Hey, my transfer struggled. Like, yeah, he's willing to go on record and say Divine and Fort are struggling. But in terms of what matters to this team winning, he's very clear. It's up to my four vets. That is what this team will be. And Tom
Mhm.
was not happy. I mean, you listen to this. He was vocal against Fears, said he didn't lead in the first half.
Mhm.
I don't know that I saw a lack of that from Fears, but that seems to be he's holding him to the Mateen standard. Um, really, the only guy he wouldn't criticize in the postgame was Cohen,
Mhm.
which was weird to me because I thought Cohen's the one who deserved the most criticism. You were texting me on that. Can you help me make sense of what's going on with Cohen Carr, both on the court and the way he's being handled right now?
It's just it's interesting that, when I listen to that post game press conference, it is like I'm holding my older guys to this certain standard. Even a player like Jeremy Fears, who, I mean, if I could just be straight up with it, I thought he was great in the first half.
He was amazing.
I don't know, like the way he talked about that, and then he moved on to Jackson and Cooper playing better defensively, which I think he had a right to say. Those Colgate bigs were taking it to him a little bit in that game, which, you know I think that, you need to expect those guys to be a little bit better defensively. Also, you're asking Jackson Kohler and Carson Cooper to be like shutdown defenders. It's a little bit asking too much, but that's what he's doing. He's asking a lot of the seniors. This is the thing about Izzo. He he is going to he's giving he basically gave these guys a chance, right? That's part of his coaching philosophy. He's like, I'm not gonna go get anybody. I got you guys. You are my guys. I need you to reward me for that trust in you. And right now you're not really doing it. And for me, quite frankly, out of that group of four you just named, like the upperclassmen, I think Colin Carr has been by far the worst of those four.
He's struggling, man.
By far. I think, and it's not even, I'm not even worried about offense right now. That's the least of my worries, to be honest with you. I don't think he's defending. I think these highlight blocks are covering up for the fact that he gets blown by, he's in the wrong spot, he does not rebound. I honestly got a feeling that he kind of is loafing around sometimes on the basketball court. And I just don't get how a guy that athletic, that strong, kind of just plays the game, for lack of a better term. I think the athleticism is covering up for just a little bit of timidness in how he plays. I don't think the rebounding for him is crazy to me.
Yeah, it's never made sense, but it's also
I don't get he's not, it's not like he's not physically gifted. It's not like he's frail. I don't understand how the rebounding is not better for him. And then even outside of the rebounding, I have a hard time believing that Tom Izzo, the defensive coach that he is, does not notice that Cohen is one of the biggest defensive liabilities on the floor right now.
yeah, he got beat baseline like two or three times in the first half of this game
And
by
and how's that? How that's the it doesn't click for me, because, like, okay, Jackson Kohler gets blown by. It's because it's Jackson. All right, Jackson is a good player, but you know what? Jackson's not this fast, athletic, just crazy guy. I don't get how you have the tools that Cohen has, but you are this bad defensively. It does not make sense to me.
the defense and rebounding is behind where even I thought it would be for sure with seeing him in a bigger role, more data points on it. I also have been very adamant and loud about this every time I possibly can in 3 years of covering Cohen Carr. I don't know where the world got the perception that he's a good rebounder. He's never been a good rebounder.
Yeah, the
There's
defense is the most surprising though, because I wouldn't have called him. I actually thought he was pretty good defensively last year, and so I don't
yeah.
understand where the change is. Maybe it's a mindset thing. Maybe he's too worried about his offense or something like that. I don't know. But it's come at the expense of defense. And you combine the defense with the rebounding, and it's not looking good.
Yeah. The defense is definitely right now it is worse than he's capable of. I feel confident in that. Like I said, he got beat baseline multiple times. He fell asleep off ball. Like his guy would basically pass and relocate and get it right back for a wide open three. That happened like twice. Um, you're right. It feels like I don't want to say loafing because I do not think Cohen Carr is like anything but a high effort player. But I think Cohen's idea of high effort in a bigger role is just not actually all that high motor. As crazy as that sounds, like some guys, like they're trying, they just don't have that extra motor. And right now, that's my perception of Cohen. As weird as it sounds, and I know, like you're right, the loud moments, he's still going to have two posters every game that are like, whoa. But those are really covering up how much of an issue he is on a play-by-play basis right now. And if you just watch the highlights, you would think this guy's the highest motor player in the country. You would also think he's a good rebounder and not a complete net negative. You would also not see any of the defensive play-by-play stuff that is pretty disastrous right now. And you would also not notice that in the half-court setting, he still can't do anything. All his points still come in transition. The only stuff he has in the half court is a one dribble pull up, which he always misses. Maybe he'll shoot 1 3 a game. In this game, he was 0 for 1. His free throw is back to what I think his normal free throw is. Now he's not always going to shoot 40%, but good that stretch where he made 20 straight free throws last year is covering up a career horrible free throw shooter. I don't know how it happened. I don't know what got into him. But if you just like outside of that 1 3 week stretch where he did not miss one free throw, he's like a career 56% free throw shooter. Like he's just not a shooter. He's not skilled at all. And I know it's harsh and we keep coming back and harping on it, but I think we're harping on it for this reason. And Tom Izzo knows this. This team was built needing Cohen Carr to be a legitimate, awesome player, not just a good player. Like for this team to work, it's real. It's why Izzo's leaning on these guys so heavily right now. They need all four of Fears, Kohler, Cooper, and Carr to be great. Otherwise, this team will not reach the levels it wants to reach. And right now, Cohen's the biggest issue because I think Cooper has given you good minutes. I think Kohler's been largely great. I think Fears is amazing, and I'm a Pitt fan for saying that.
I do need Cooper to realize that he's not Xavier Tillman, though.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too. But anyways, Carr. I don't know. I don't know where you go with Carr because to kind of summarize the end conclusion for me on where it's at right now, I think I have said this on record once before. If Cohen could do any of the things that I think Michigan State people believe and want him to do, he'd already be in the NBA. Is that fair to say? Like, you don't be the athlete he is and not be on NBA radars unless you really can't do this stuff. And I think the pitch was like he'll add it at some point. His instincts stink. His awareness stinks. His skill stinks. Like the only thing that he's supposed to be able to bring to the table outside of athleticism is motor. And right now his motor stinks. So I don't know what you do with it. The idea, like coming in, I was told from smart people that Cohen's approaching the season like this is my last year in East Lansing. I don't know where he goes. I'm sorry. It's like laughable to me that this guy is like some NBA player. He has nothing but jumpy jumps. It's always been that way, and it still is that way. And do you see it change? Like to me, the motor can change. But we've been saying this after two exhibitions. We're like the real season will get here and it'll change. He had 0 rebounds in the first half of this game again against a team that doesn't even try and rebound. Like it's disaster level from me right now. It's code red.
Yeah, and I mean, even on top of all that, it's like visibly worse. Like I think he is the same at best. He's the same at best offensively, is what I would say from last season. I would even make an argument that he's worse. So I think he's been worse defensively. I think he's been worse offensively. I think he's been the same rebounder, which was bad last year. And that guy is supposed to be our best play. Was talked up as our best player.
Yeah.
He's not. This is not Cohen Carr's team. It cannot be Cohen Carr's team. It's Fears' team. And that's what
Yeah.
needs to happen. And, you know, Fears, you talk about the other guys on this team. That's who's getting these guys shots. Fears is. Shit, if I'm Fears, I should have more than 10 assists. If my team could hit more than six threes or be better, make layups, make shots. This team shot 41% from the field, man. And Colgate is not some defensive mastermind team. They are
Yeah.
not some just great team down low that Michigan State was one of the best 2-point shooting teams in the country last year. That's why we were so good offensively. So we're not going to hit threes. We're going to shoot 40% from the field and shoot 65% from the line.
Yeah.
That's not going to get it done.
Yeah.
You're not going to be a good team doing that because the
Yeah.
defense isn't there on top of that. At least they rebounded this game, but honestly, a lot of that was, it was against Colgate, but also shout out to Jackson Kohler. Like, it's crazy to me that people throw away 16 points, like 16, 15. We're just throwing that away.
Yeah. Kohler's good, man. He's he's really underappreciated. He's really good. And I'm
Right.
happy for him to see him come through because the team needs it. But he was the Ken Palm MVP in this game, even in a game where we're talking this is the best performance from Fears in an MSU uniform. I think I agree with that, and yet analytics say Kohler was actually the best player in the game, which is really impressive. You got two guys that I think are going to be constant in Kohler and Fears, and at minimum, I mean Kohler and even if Cohen doesn't come around at all, Kohler and Fears are good enough to keep you high floor. Like those guys are legitimately good. They're really good. And
Mhm.
I think, do you wish like there was a lot of other stuff to help them right now? Better surrounding pieces that fit better, yeah. But also like if Izzo's going to hit the podium and be like, my vets need to be great. I know he wants to hold Fears to a really high standard. Two of his vets are great and were great in this game, and that's why he won the game. So
And there's a hope for me too that the thing with Fears too is that I think he is, despite what Izzo's saying with the first half leadership, I think he's showing leadership, right? I think that he is leading by example right now, and he is doing that. And to be honest with you, I mean, Fears and Cohen came in together. I know they're really good friends. I know all of that. I would love to see, and not even like in like a public setting or anything like that, but I would not be surprised if Fears behind closed doors or just in conversation is not telling Cohen like what's like, what I'm saying? Like getting his guy going a little bit.
yeah,
Sometimes you gotta go at your mans if you're gonna be a leader of the team. Sometimes you gotta chew people out. Even if you are brothers and teammates like you say you are, you're receptive to that. Now, that's a whole nother issue. You want to know why maybe Izzo isn't being so hard on Cohen? Because maybe he knows Cohen can't take that. And that's a whole nother issue.
is that your read on the situation?
It's not my read. I'm monitoring it right now, but I do think that sometimes kid gloves are used with certain players because of how they react.
Which, if that is what Izzo's doing, I honestly would give him credit because I think you do have to coach different players different ways. Fears is clearly a competitive psycho who can take being destroyed after an all-timer performance.
Hmm.
I don't know what Cohen is. He's an enigma, man. Like I don't know what he is as a player, and I don't know what he is as a personality right now. And it's kind of the question of Michigan State's season. What is he going to be? If this is what he is, and it's not going to improve, I think there's a pretty limited ceiling on this team. But maybe it'll change. I don't know. Or maybe the changes will come from somebody around him. That seems more unlikely to me than just Cohen figuring it out. But I guess we'll see. Okay, I want to move to Fears. You termed this as Fears' best performance in a Michigan State uniform. I think I'm totally okay with that. I have a broader way to frame what I'm seeing from Fears right now that ties into my big picture diagnosis of this team.
Hmm.
I've spent 2 years saying that despite Cassius Winston comparisons, Mateen Cleaves comparisons. The correct player comparison for Jeremy Fears is one guy. I think he's a one for one carbon copy of a player I've watched in the last 10 years. It is Michigan point guard Xavier Simpson, also known as Jeff Jackson when pulled over at 3 in the morning and breathalyzed. Xavier Simpson, while he drove me crazy as a fan at times, was one of the best leaders, floor generals, defenders I've ever seen. I think he led the country in assists one year. He took his team as the starting point guard to a national championship game, with talented players around him and won a bazillion games. It felt like he was always a tough out. That to me is exactly what fears, like a best case for fears. I've said this for 2 years. The best case for fears is he becomes what Xavier Simpson was, peak Xavier Simpson. Um, Card, I think he's already done that. I think what Jeremy Fears is right now is peak Xavier Simpson. It's about a year ahead of schedule, to be honest.
Mhm.
And I give him credit for it. Now, part of why, like, dude, the moves he's pulling in games are literally Simpsons moves. At some point, he's gonna whip out the hook shot, like that little the stop hesitation, change your
Like
pace move.
the little deceleration Euro step.
That was a Xavier Simpson specialty. He did that shit 5 times a game for his final 2 years. Like, Fears has very clearly added things to his game. The jumper's gotten better. He's a more willing shooter. The passing's always been elite. The leadership's always been elite. The defense has gotten better. He's a dog. And you can win just because you have him. That's it. And I'm really impressed with it. I know I've been vocal. Last year, my pitch on night one of the season was turn away from Fears and give it to Jace. And this year, my pitch on day one of the season is it's all going to come back to Jeremy Fears and who he is. And I give him credit because I think he's taken immense strides in his games. It's high praise. I know Michigan State fans probably don't even like the Simpson comp, but I'm telling you, I didn't love Simpson as a player either. I still have issues with some of Fears' limitations. Any coach in the country would take that at point guard. You can win with it. It's wired the same way as Tom Izzo, and it's who he is right now. He is peak Xavier Simpson. Here's the issue, and here's the diagnosis of this team. I think Tom Izzo is realizing in real time, and probably should have realized it this summer, he's put the worst possible fit of players around peak Xavier Simpson.
Mhm.
Like, Xavier Simpson went to a national title game because he had a 6'11 German at the five that shot 5 threes a game. He was a top 5 team in the country because he had a one and done wing superstar in Brazdakis. He had an NBA shooting guard in Jordan Poole, who were both high volume 3-point attempt guys. They had a glue guy that could shoot at the 4 in Isaiah Livers. And this is not a Michigan video, I get it. But let's look at what surrounds Fears right now. You're playing him at all times with 2 guys that I still consider non-shooting bigs. And I understand Kohler hit 2 threes in this game. Honestly, maybe you need Kohler to be a really high volume 3-point guy.
Mhm.
Maybe he's capable of that, and maybe that's what changes his team. But in my opinion, just on paper, are teams getting out and trying to take Kohler away from the 3-point line? No. You're still clogging the paint and letting Jackson Kohler shoot. And Carson Cooper is just in the way. So
Mhm.
you're playing two slow moving, we'll leave them open guys at the 4 and the 5, alongside a 3 at all times who you don't have to guard. And as good and Fears and Carr are in transition, it's as bad in the half court. You're still going under on Fears jumpers. And mind you, there's 3 different guys on the court at all times who now are not just role guys. They're not playing 17 minutes a game anymore so that Holloman and Jason Akins can come in and shoot. They're playing the whole game. Izzo is very clear and very direct and very deliberate about this. The vision for this team is to play those 4 guys the whole game. And Cart, when you try to play those 3 at the same time with Jeremy Fears, it makes life infinitely harder on Jeremy Fears. And then whoever you're trying to play as the 5th guy is either a total defensive liability that is not wired the same way as Fears in Tang and Fort, or a freshman who just isn't ready yet in Scott or Ward. And if it's Ward, by the way, oh, great, another guy who can't shoot. So I don't know what the fix is. Like, and I know we're calling this the most impressive performance from Fears. To get 10 assists last night in 34 minutes with the spacing he had is one of the most impressive feats I've ever seen from a point guard. I mean, that might as well have been 20 assists because there were 7 guys in the paint at all times. 2 of them were his own teammates.
Mhm.
Your team hit 6 threes last night.
Mhm.
And Fears had 10 assists. Like,
Mhm.
he is at Braden Smith level as a passer. And it's just, I don't even think it's like been noticed because of how clunky the fit is with the 3 guys they're trying to play him with. I I guess I'm just amazed. I'm amazed by where Fears is at right now. This is me trying to give him his flowers while also being really frustrated that I think it's like barely noticeable the leap he's taken because of who he's surrounded by. Do you think that's a fair diagnosis of this?
No, I think it is fair. And look, we can point to, and I wouldn't even call them excuses, but like Holloman leaving, he would have been perfect for this freaking team.
Perfect.
He would have been perfect. Even a guy like Caleb Glenn, like a freak knee injury, going on air doing a workout, that hurt this team. He could
Glenn
have
would have
helped it.
been great. Would have been great.
Would have been great. So like I get that. That's unfortunate. But outside of that, yeah, it's just there's no spacing, there's no space, there's no shooting, there's no threat. And it's not just fears that it's affecting too. Every team in the country that plays Michigan State will send a double at Jackson Kohler. They'll send and I'm not even saying Jackson's just his automatic bucket in the post, but all he doesn't do well against double teams, I think. And also it's easy to double him because who's he gonna kick to? Colin Carr? What's he gonna do? Make it? You're kicking it to Kurtang? Sick. I'll take that. Like what like this it's just there's not the shooting threat. Make it 6 threes, and I think there's gonna be a lot of this season, unfortunately. And that's why, you know, we need Jordan Scott to hit threes. Jordan Scott was over three in this game.
I
And we
thought the
need
Colgate defense had the right scout too. They basically doubled the post the whole game.
yeah.
I would just do that every time. Whenever Kohler or Cooper catch, just double.
Yeah, because they both can't handle double teams.
And Fears and Carr aren't making you pay.
And on one side too, when Kohler does handle it, he throws it to Cooper and Cooper fumbles it for the most part. Or they just panic when the double team comes. I don't know. I don't know what's being done like in practice or something like that, but there needs to be like hey, they're gonna W. They're gonna W. Take a breath, man. Relax.
Yeah.
Like just take a minute and we'll be all right. But like, yeah, it's a very easy team to defend.
Yeah.
It's a very easy team to defend.
Look, a year ago I was ready to condemn this Michigan State team too. I mean, I think I came on and said it's the least Michigan State team I've ever seen. Became maybe the most embodiment of the Spartan dog spirit that we ever saw last year. So I've learned my lesson. You're just not going to hear me, at least in November, come on here and express any serious skepticism. To me, all of these issues that we are raising, Izzo will solve. And I mean that sincerely. I will buy a team with Tom Izzo and Jeremy Fears to figure it out. That kid's a special leader, and God, he's made such improve. I'm really, really impressed with him. I just really am. And him and Kohler you can win with. It's a really high floor. Everything else is just letting the team down though to me right now. And the hard part for me when talking fit with Fears, especially last year, there were very obvious options and different things to try that we felt could improve things. Outside of Jordan Scott, I don't think those exist for this year's team. Maybe I'm greatly underestimating the strides that Divine Ugachukwu will make. But even if Cam Ward became amazing, Cart, you couldn't put him in the lineup. You cannot put Cam Ward on a court with Kohler, Cooper, and Carr. Like that, it straight up can't happen.
Yeah.
So, like that's no offense to him. Even if he's good, he's just gonna have to back up Cohen Carr. That's the only role for Cam Ward on this team. It's got to be Tang, Fort, or Scott. It has to be. And I guess where do you stand on that group of three? Because I think Scott's getting a lot of praise. Izzo said after the game he thought he was the second best player in this game. I think he's won over Spartan fans already as the guy we want to emerge. But it wasn't like a perfect Jordan Scott game. He went 0 for 3 from 3 and finished with 6 and 6.
Yeah. But I'm also in a spot too where I think Scott's been the best defensive player out of that group.
Yeah.
I'm at a point too where I'm thinking ahead. I would love Scott just to be in it this season because I think he could be a part of it next season with hopefully a better roster and a better team. And I'm not saying I want to give up on Kurt Hang. Like there maybe is something there, but like I'm leaning into Scott as a developmental piece. Trey Fort's got 1 year here and then he's gone. I'm not really concerned about bringing him along or anything like that. So I don't know. And just in general, I think that the best defender and the best rebounder out of that group is Scott.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think again, like it was good in this game. 6 rebounds in 18 minutes. He was flying around. It's more than Cohen Carr had. Like he's good defensively and good on the boards right now. How good will it be against Big Ten opponents is probably a
Mm.
question. But it's definitely there right now. The effort, the focus, all of it is ahead of where you would expect from a freshman. So I'm on board with let's feed Jordan Scott more minutes and see what happens. I guess if we're just talking this year, I'm interested in like a Fears, Scott, Carr, Cooper, Kohler look. Um, we haven't even talked about this. I think the center spot's incredibly thin, and that's terrifying. Like, there's a lot of people who have seemed to want to go back to like Carr at the four, Kohler at the five. They're going to play that by default because Jesse McCulloch's the backup center on this team, and he only can play 6 minutes right now. Like, I know, like 2 years ago, we used to come on here 3 years ago and talk about how thin the Michigan State front court was. It's never been this thin, has it?
No, no, I thought last year was the thinnest it would get, but I was mistaken. I thought the
Like
year
we
before
we
that was the
thought
thinnest it would get.
Bingham, Marble, Kithier was thin.
I'd kill for that.
Like they have two bigs, and one of them is like unplayable, and one of
Kithier
them's
would
Carson Cooper.
Kithier would start on this team.
I'm really confused by the five spot handling this summer. Like, did they just not want a third big?
I couldn't even begin to tell you.
It's strange.
So
Like Izzo's not really ever entered a season with only two bigs. It's strange. Anyways, where I feel like I had one other thing on this. After the game, Izzo, one of his quotes, we keep referencing this press conference. He gives you a lot of gems. That's why. One of his quotes was basically our transfer stunk. That's me paraphrasing, but he comparatively was like, I really liked what the freshmen did. I did not like what the transfers did. There's only two transfers. That's as direct as you can be on Trey
there's
Ford
three.
and
Well, three.
who's three.
Denim.
Is as direct as you can be on Trey Ford and Divine, who Divine had a 3 trillion in this game basically, or an 8 trillion. He had one assist in 8 minutes. How do you think, like privately right now, what would Tom Izzo say about his transfer class? Does he regret it? Does he wish he did anything differently?
Privately,
Yeah.
yeah. He wishes he did things. Nah, he would probably say something about like, yeah, but Glenn wasn't hurt. But he'd probably be like, yeah, uh, no, this is
The Glenn injury is hanging over it, but this is where I'm headed, Cart. I think I can predict the future on this. Tom Izzo's going to use Divine and Trey Ford's failures this year to justify not using the portal ever again.
ugh.
Like he's already kind of insinuating it, right? He's like, "Well, my transfers are way behind. My freshmen are ready. My transfers are way behind."
Well, if he's gonna get good freshmen, then go ahead. But like, still, you can't abandon it in this day and age. It's a
Shaka Smart has. There are coaches who have. And look, his hand was forced this year by Holloman. If Holloman doesn't leave, he doesn't get forward. But I think I would keep an eye on this. I think Izzo's pretty directly being like, I hate these transfers. Without saying that, I think he despises Trey Ford. And I think he knows Divine's not good enough, but he has to play him. And the good news is it sounds like you have reinforcements on the way from a freshman class for the ages. We'll have more on that in the next week. On that note, fast forward a year. I'm not telling you to give up on the season, but wherever this season goes, can we fast forward a year and imagine a year four Jeremy Fears, senior Cohen Carr, Josiah Jervis, Ethan Taylor, Jordan Scott year two, Carlos Medlock off the bench. That team's amazing, I think.
yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
So I think that's the nice bit of positivity is no matter what's going on with this team, frustrations wise, you have that to look forward to as long as Jervis and Taylor predictions come true. But
Yeah, but a lot banking on that, and also I maybe I just need to sit back and just let this year really play out. But I just have a hard time having any expectations with this team.
Yeah, what are your expectations? Through two exhibitions and one real game, what are your updated expectations?
Somehow, some way, I don't care how it happens, make the tournament.
They will.
That's yeah, but that's all I got though.
Here's how I'd say I think Fears, Kohler, and Izzo get you to the tournament. I think if you win a game or win multiple games, it comes down to everybody else. Fears, Kohler, and Izzo are good enough to just get you there. If you want to win anything once you get there, Carr, Cooper, and all the bench has to give you something. We'll see if they do. Last note for me on shooting 6 for 21 from three. Obviously, gross. You did have three guys hit two of them. Tang, Fort, and Kohler each hit two. Kind of crazy. Tang and Fort both hit their shots in these games, and we're still coming off of it being like that was bad. Does that
Mhm.
scare you at all? Because you would have told me going in like you get both those guys making 50% of their threes. We're coming out of it like hell yeah, we feel good about the shooting guard spot, and instead they made shots, and still everybody's like that was terrible.
Yeah, because they just well, one, it's just every time even I feel like if they had a camera on Izzo every time Fort shoots, it would like he'd just be making like a face like his stomach hurts. And Tang's jumper to me just doesn't look right. It looks hitchy. Like when it goes in, I'm actually shocked at this point. So, yeah, I don't know. And just everything else associated with the game of basketball, I just come away with unimpressed. Like they hit two threes. I bet you they each gave up 15 each.
Yeah, yeah, I hear it.
If they,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think that's really ominous though for those two.
Yeah, we have. I feel like we talked about it too. But like, by the way, defense once again terrible.
Yeah, it's really ominous for those two because I think in both of their minds they approach this season as like, oh, my role here is to make shots, and in this game they both made shots. And coming out of it, their coach and everyone involved is like, yeah, the shooting guard spot's terrible. So they did what they're on the floor to do, and everyone agrees it wasn't good enough. That's a pretty ominous sign of where this heads. I think I think Scott's just going to take it from him. I think by the end of the year, Scott's just playing all the minutes, and you go really big at the 2, 3, 4. And I don't know what that'll do, but to me, I think that's where this is headed. I feel like those two, more than any player in recent memory, I think Tang and and Fort drive Izzo crazy. Like, doesn't he just visibly kind of have disdain for those two?
The fourth one is just very interesting. I just want to know like what was like was like maybe like Sadi the lead on this one, and he was like, Izzo, trust me, I got us one. And then like in the first few practices, Izzo's probably like, Sadi, what the? He doesn't even check.
I don't know.
Does he do anything else? Nah. But like I just it's just I just should have seen. I should have just looked a little bit. It's not all about just shooty bucky ball. Like it's just not the type of player Izzo plays.
Yeah, I don't know. On free throw shooting quickly, I have one note to add. So again, one of Izzo's loudest points of criticism was, "Hey, I can take blame for a lot of things. I can't take blame for missed free throws." That's what he said after the game.
Hmm.
As a team, 24 for 37, that's only 65%. That's not great. It's also not diabolically bad. I
Yeah.
would like to point this out as far as like guys got to make their free throws. The guys that I would term quote unquote good shooters on this team, Fears, Kohler, Fort, and Scott, went 19 for 23 from the free throw line.
Hmm.
That's very good. The guys that I would term bad shooters on this team, Cooper, Carr, and Cam Ward, two of whom are undeniably terrible shooters, combined to go 5 for 14 from the free throw line. Is the expectation that three terrible shooters start making shots? Gah, make your free throws, Cam Ward and Cohen Carr. Gah, like, doesn't that just carry a fundamental misunderstanding of who those guys are? If your criticism after the game is why did Cam Ward and Cohen Carr miss free throws?
Yeah, I mean Cam Ward, I think is just bad. Like I expect Cohen Carr to make more free throws. Now, I'm not saying like do what he did last year, but if I counted the exhibition, I feel like he's shooting like 39% from the free throw line.
Yeah, I mean
Like like diabolically bad.
he's 56% as a freshman.
That's what I'll take that. I can't live with 31,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure which is what I'm pretty sure he's shooting currently.
It's 40% in this game. 2 for 5.
And that's probably gonna make it go up.
So he went that 20 for 20 stretch last year. Let me just do some math on this and remove that. If you remove the random
But he
stretch,
did that though. You can't just remove it.
I mean, I hear you.
That's a large
Yes.
that's it's a large sample size that he can make free throws. I get what you're going for, but
I
that's a pretty good stretch. I mean,
I just think a crazy. It's like a guy that hits. It's me when I hit 5 straight parlays.
what do you think Cohen Carr is as a free throw shooter percentage wise?
60.
I'll take that.
Yeah, but
That's what I'm asking for.
but that's not what everybody else is asking for. Because this
Well,
team shot 65% in this game, and Izzo's
I
saying it's terrible.
that's what I'm asking for.
Fine, but just to let me conclude the thought, even if you disagree with the thought process behind this, I would just say I write a betting newsletter every week that you contribute to. Week one, I went 11-0 on bets.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of week one, I've been a 50-50 better this year. Card, am I a 60% better or a 50% better? Like, I'm probably a 50% better, and I had an insane hot streak that's really never going to happen again.
Units.
It's not that's the way to look at this. So Cohen as a freshman, 56% from free throw. Cohen as a sophomore, 70% from free throw, which includes the crazy stretch. If you remove the crazy stretch, Cohen Carr was a 62% free throw shooter as a sophomore. 56-62 is what I think his mean really is here. Now, again, that stretch was amazing. If he has another 20 for 20 stretch this year, maybe he'll get to 70% again. But like if you're expecting Cohen Carr to step up to the line and shoot any better than 60%, I think you're fooling yourself. I just think you're fooling yourself. He looks uncomfortable, and he's never looked comfortable attempting a jump shot from anywhere in his life. So to me, that's like hearing Izzo criticize. The one thing I disagreed with him, like, guys got to make their free throws. Let's do group prayer for Cohen Carr and Carson Cooper to make their shots. And by the way, who do they think Carson Cooper is? What are like offensively? They are running Tillman stuff for him. What is
Yeah,
that?
I don't get that. I don't get that. Also, what did Cohen or not? What did not Cohen? What last year was just an unbelievable free throw year. So Cooper was 75% from the line last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe Cooper's a free throw shooter. I don't know. Two years of 47 and 63 before that. So
Yeah.
lifetime 66. You'll take that, but it's not the point. None of these guys are going to shoot 70% from the line. It's the point. The team shot 65% and Izzo's complaining about it. Like,
Well, that's coach speak. They don't care if you're missing nine fingers. It's a free throw.
fair.
Step up and make it. I don't care if you're a bad 3-point shooter. I don't care if you're a bad whatever shooter. It's a free throw. You're by yourself. Make it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, but coach, I'm not a good shooter. And like, I didn't ask you that.
Listen, man, sometimes Michigan State money line just seems so easy. And the minus 300, you're wide open on the line. You should hit it. And then just the bets don't hit always, man.
I don't like my team being correlated to betting.
There's a lot of gambles going on with this roster, man.
Very, I'd say
There's a lot of gambles. You got any way you want to end this?
the best part about in a season is learning and wins.
That is true.
I didn't learn anything, but I won.
I think you learned a little. You learned fears is the real deal.
Yeah, I'm attaching myself to that. I mean, I did already, just like floor general wise.
Yeah.
Also Izzo has, but yeah,
Yeah. NC State's going to get a good one next year for sure.
don't okay. That there's don't just don't
Medlock
please
era.
please
Please,
please like
please.
not like just not now
Nah,
please.
you're right. Congrats, Michigan State. 1-0. Tied for first place in the Big Ten standings.